Professor, we have shared a couple of questions with you, but I want to start like this, if you allow me.
Sure.
The world dominantly wants to hear your mind speaking. It wants to hear your ideas, etc. But I don't know if you would agree. For example, Mr. Shabir here is the one who has the exclusive opportunity to be near to you, no? Close to you. As when you learn from a guru, his experience, his words are important, but his experience, the way he lives, also makes a difference, I would say. So that's why I'm very interested to hear, you have taken the road that you have taken in your life, but is there one thing or two things maybe that you can recall from your maybe early childhood or adulthood, I don't know, that has somehow traced the path afterwards that you will take upon in life?
I had no idea that this is the path I'll take. This is quite a strange thing that I did. It came out of the blue. So the particular path that I took. But the essential idea of being helpful to people, I'm sure it was there in early childhood from my parents, particularly from my mother. We were in a very low-income family, so we didn't have much to share with the family members and so on. But my mother always wanted to help people who asked for help from us. So she's always forthright and always trying to be helpful to other people. So that may have influenced me. I was very close to my mother. So as I grew up, I saw her doing things in this particular way. And as I went to school, I got involved with the usual kid stuff, games and things. Then I got involved with Boy Scouts. So I became a Boy Scout, and that was a fun thing to do. But at the same time, it makes you helpful to others. That's what the motto is. So that's another way doing that. And my teachers, who were close to me and encouraging me to do things, they're also encouraged me to do things for helping other people. So I would say these are some of the glimpses of the things that, but it was not a systematic thing. It didn't happen. I could have been anything else, because at one time I was planning that I'll be a lawyer, or even before as a child, I wanted to be a pilot, to fly a plane and so on. So those are the kind of thing, but those are not serious thinking. But as I grew up, I wanted to study economics. I thought economics would give me some idea how to make things happen for people so that their life is better. So that's how, that was a very big decision that I took, that I'll specialize in economics. And that's what I did for the rest of the time. Then when I after I did my PhD and everything in the USA, and I stayed there for teaching. So I was teaching in the university. So I enjoyed it. It's a brand new PhD and with lots of enthusiasm of the subject and so on. So I was enthusiastically teaching my classes, enjoyed it very much. And then something happened in Bangladesh. Bangladesh became an independent country in 1971 after a very troubled path with liberation war, lots of people getting killed and so on, destroyed all the infrastructure of the country. Then I decided, now I must go back. This is not what I wanted to do. This is just passing my time doing things. So I should be doing real things, which is in Bangladesh with the real people. So I immediately resigned from my job. I said, I'm going back. They were surprised because they wanted me to stay, continue. They liked me. But I resigned. I said, no, I have to go back. So I came back in 1972. After 7 years in the USA. And at a stretch, in between, in these 7 years, I never came to Bangladesh to visit. So I spent time visiting other countries. I said, I can stay in Bangladesh as much as I want, but I won't get the opportunity to see all these places. So whenever I had an opportunity, I did that. I explored other places, other countries, and so on. So I came back after 7 years and I took a job as a teacher. That's what I wanted to be. That's what I enjoyed. And I started teaching in Chittagong University, which is just a freshly built university, beautiful campus. And I became the head of the department of economics. It's a young person becoming head of the department. So I took that very seriously. And that's what the whole idea began. And in 1974, we had a terrible famine in the country. Bangladesh already was an extremely poor country. And on top of it, we came to a situation where people are dying of hunger. And many of them, thousands and hundreds of thousands of them. So that's one kind of shocked me, that what kind of subject I teach, which has no meaning in the life of the people. I can't do anything. There's nothing in economics to tell you, save the people. So maybe this is not the right subject for me. And I felt quite useless, that I have no use for myself in the circumstances that I am in. I kind of felt very depressed over several months. And then I thought, well, since I'm teaching here at the university, which is surrounded by villages. So this is a very funny situation. It's not an urban-centered university. It's a village-centered university. So I said I could just go out of the campus boundary and be with the real people and the real village and the real situation. And I see if I can be useful to even for one person. I don't have to solve everybody's problem. As a human being, I can at least try to help one person. So I made up a mind to find one person a day to see if I can be of some help to him or her. So that was my beginning of the journey. And I did a lot of things. And along the journey will come the loan shark and how to stop the loan shark, making all kinds of cruel things to their victims, those who borrowed money from them. And that shocked me. Now I see the people who are the victims in the village and who are the people who are making them victims, the loan shark. They are the same village people. And again, I feel that economics never taught me how to stop the loan sharking. There's nothing called loan sharking in any chapter or anything. So I said, I'm again sorry that I spent so much time learning a subject which I cannot find use for. So I thought about it, how to protect people from the loan sharking. So I came up with an idea. Why don't I lend the money myself? If I lend the money, that person doesn't have to go to loan shark. So he or she will be saved. So I liked that idea in myself. And as next morning, I explained to them that, look, this is what I'll do. If you need any money, come to me. Anybody who needs money, ask them to come to me. And I'll lend the money. Very simple way. All you have to do is to return the money, nothing else. There's no conditionalities and no loan sharking, anything. So that was the beginning of what later became the loan, microcredit, Grameen Bank, Global, and so on. So I'll stop here.
Thank you very much. What you are saying actually is that a young man has an idea. On one side, it has a mapping of the situation that is happening in front of his eyes. It's a hard situation, but he's not the only one that sees it. But again, in you, there was a capacity to born an idea and pursue it. That's the difference. And I think that somehow you have managed to do your childhood dream to become a pilot because you have piloted a new kind of economy. Is that right? Okay. So as we are talking about the economy and you've been mentioning your teachers, I suppose they had the good impact on you, and then you have become a teacher. What's the role of the youngsters in the way that the future will unfold for any country? And what is our role as adults within the education process, maybe, or some other processes, to make them see the right vision for ahead?
For the young people, what I try to explain to them, that look, all the problems that we created around us is in our thinking, the way we think. And that is what creates the real world. If we think differently, the world will be different. Because this thinking will go into action, action will create the things that we do. So the mind is very important, what you think. I said, thinking and imagination. Imagine. You see, thinking is one thing which is realistic. Imagination is unrealistic. So I encourage them to imagine rather than think. Imagine all the wildest thing that you can imagine. Don't try to be practical. Imagination doesn't like being practical. The more non-practical you are, that's a good imagination. So I said that this is a chance, because this is one thing, one area where you don't have to spend any money. You build anything you want in your mind. So why don't you try to create things which is absolutely way out of the reality, at the same time, fantastic. Would love to have something like that. So I said, that's what it is. I encourage them to think about those kind of. I also give example. I said, look at science fiction. It's all imagination. Everybody imagines things which is never happened before. Maybe never will happen in future also, but imagine. So we create science fiction, we go universe after universe, planet after planet, space travels and whatnot, design all kinds of spacecraft where we can live, where we have fights with each other, all kinds of stories, all kinds of equipments which never happened before, but we make it in our theory, in our imagination, and then have a beautiful movie out of it, beautiful series out of it, and we love that. I said, look at that, attraction of imagination, wild imagination. And we love that, we pay for it, we go enjoy it, ask them to produce more of them. I said, the important thing is, this is all fictions, but we love it. And science also loves it. Because science said, why not? So they start thinking of doing it, following it. And all the major scientific developments happen because of the fact that somebody imagined it in a science fiction and then it became real. I said, most of the thing we do today in 2020, which end of 2020, I said, it's a science fiction issues 20 years back or 30 years back. They were so wild at that time that it's not real. But today it's real because science followed them and made it real. So I said, unfortunate thing is, although we love science fiction, we make them into movies, we make them into cartoons, we don't write social fictions. I said, why don't we write social fictions? And imagine kind of society and the planet, interaction with people, what the country means, what the nation means, in imagination, not in the real thing, is something else. And my idea is, if you can create those social fictions or political fictions or whatever, society will change into that, because people are like, hey, this is good. So I said, if you imagine, I tell the young people, if you imagine, it will happen. If you don't imagine, it will never happen. Imagination is a big power. So go and imagine. And if you like that, your imagination, follow imagination. Make it real. That's the challenge to you.
Great. Thank you. I remember in Berlin, you were sitting next to me, and the first picture that I took is the picture of your shoes. Can you believe it? I said, there's something different in this man. And your shoes were very normal and dusty, dusty, because you walked the road to the conference hall. But I can hear you saying that never has something come up into the world before it came up to our mind. Exactly. So it will happen from a bit of an information that you will help yourself grow in your mind. So it's a beautiful concept that I hear from you. But still, Professor, today's educational system teaches people, youngsters, our future, a certain kind of economy. Bigger is better, ego versus eco, and profit above all, right? So I'm wondering, what is that capacity that today's leaders who were educated like that, today's leaders of the big corporations, what is it that they do not see? What is their blind spot? What is the blind spot of today's economy? So we are creating results that nobody wants, as Mr. Sharma is saying.
Yeah. Well, you have been very kind saying that these are blind spots. I'm a little bit harsh. I said they are blind. There's a blind spot. They are just plain blind. They don't see the reality. They created their own imaginary world, living in the real world. Imaginary world is we can everybody be happy if we pursue our own interest. So they created a subject called economics, which is based on a simple principle that all human beings are driven by self-interest. They're all selfish. I said that very starting point is wrong. Human beings are not selfish. Human beings are driven by self-interest, but more so by common interest, by collective interest. That common interest part is forgotten in economics. So economics became a self-centric subject. It's a translation in its sense, self-centrism turns into profit maximization, grab, I get everything for myself. This is all coming from my basic idea that I imagine all people are self-centered. All they want to do is to fatten themselves with all the wealth and everything else, acquire things, grab things for yourself, and fight the rest. That's called competition, fight with others to make it happen. So world has become that kind of world because we imagine that kind of world, we created that kind of world. This is one example why imagination comes and created that. But the real world, real people are different. But we're turned into a wrong people. We're self-centered people. So we're always trying to protect, always trying to grab something from my neighbor, from somebody else. And this is the direction economics has helped us to create for ourselves and so on. So I said that very subject, which is supposed to be subject to prepare people to improve the quality of life, share the wealth, and so on, actually became a subject of grabbing and personal acquiring, accomplishing your success by demonstrating how much you have accomplished by grabbing things for others and so on. So this is, and we got used to it. That's why I said we are blind. So our mind cannot conceptualize that there is another part of human being. The moment you talk about collective interest, they say, no, that's not true. Look at everybody, how they live. They enjoy it, they have fun. Profit is fun. So you do that profit and it creates wealth and creates wealth in a very fast and steady way. I said, wealth for what? Have you ever thought about it? Wealth for what? I said, if you prepare a map of the whole world right now and put all the human beings that live in the planet on this map to show what is their income level. So you show, say, $2.50 people, the poverty line. There's a poverty line. And how many people, how many millions under the poverty line? And how many above the poverty line? And how many just still a little bit over the poverty line and then go and so on. $2.50 a day people, then you have a $3 a day, $5 a day, $10 a day, $20 a day, $100 a day, $1,000 a day. Put them in the map. And if you go beyond, say, $1 million a day, $50,000 a day, it becomes very, very small number. You can't even see them anymore. And you go to $1 million a day, there are people $1 million a day, but you don't see them. It's such a small. So you have a map where all entire human population on this planet is bunched along the poverty line. They're very close to the poverty line, not too far away. It is $2.50, $5, $10, $50. That's it. Very close to each other. And after you go to say $1,000 a day or $100,000 a day, you become rare. After that's absolutely rare. But they go on. But it's very rare. So this is the map of population where everything is at the bottom. They can say very safely, everybody on the planet is at the bottom. You now prepare a map of wealth. Bottom is empty. People who are on the $2.50 and below it, above it, they don't have any wealth. They're tiny, tiny, insignificant. Even you can't see it in a microscope there. So it's a blank space. You go on, you go on, you go on. Continue. Go miles and miles above. And then you see all the wealth is concentrated there. 99% of the entire world is right there. So I said, what kind of world is this? People on the one side, and the wealth is on the other side. I say all the people pushed to the South Pole, and the wealth is pushed to the North Pole. is this the best economy you could produce? And you say you're fantastic, your growth is not here. Growth is there. Even when the pandemic, millions, even billions of people lost their job, lost their income, lost their food, and struggling to survive all over the world, including Macedonia and everywhere else, United States or Europe, everywhere else. So this happened to the people who are clinging near around this place with their $2.50 a day and that kind of thing. Their life became threatened. What happened to the people on the top, all those people, handful of people who own those entire wealth of the world? Their wealth increased. Same time. So I said, what kind of economic system that we have? Where the people live, your economics doesn't work. Your economics work for only a handful of people. So I said that itself is a very explosive situation that you don't want to continue with that kind of thing. That's the message I try to explain to young people that, look, just take the facts. It's not something, your opinion or something. You draw the map yourself, where the people live, where the wealth is. Your percentages may be a little here, a little there. But the basic thing, North Pole and South Pole, you can't explain it by any other ways. So we have to undo that world and create a world where there are no poles, South Pole or North Pole. They're just bunch of wealth and people are bunched together. They live together. Wherever they live together. They're not separated at all. That's the challenge that we have. Well,
great. Beautiful, beautiful concept, Professor. And still, the economics is led by the interest of the interest groups, whether they are political, business, or religious. I don't know. Doesn't matter. So there is this idea of entrepreneurship. When you find one manager, one people with some kind of power that can maybe change the mindset of the groups and impose a different solution. So I liked your speech when you have been explaining how you made up with Danone, and said when you proposed to the CEO and he said yes, you said it must be my English.
Yeah.
Like that. But luckily it wasn't. What was that? What do you think is that shift that changes the mindset of the CEOs that has worked on a certain way so far? Then they talk to you. What do you say to them? And what is that something that shifts in them that makes a switch? You know?
Yeah, I'll say that the people are people. Whether you are the CEO of Danone, or you're a teacher, or you're a street vendor. We are people, you have the same quality, the scale may be different. You if you're a CEO, you think in a big terms. The guy who is a street vendor is thinking the tiny little thing, the fraction of $1 or something, but the other one's millions of dollars. Those are the different, but attitudes and things, life experience is different. So I would say, and in my own explanation, I focus on individuals. Individuals can make the change, because it's inherent in them, because as each individual, every one of them, everyone that we have as a human being, have that drive inside, the drive to achieve collective gain. So solving collective problems, that's it. Being driven by collective interest, that is inherent in us. But economics suppressed it. Then we became making focused F10, maximize our wealth, maximize our profit, and expand our things, individual possessions, and so on. Because other part was completely locked out, completely put out of action. It's not, it doesn't even exist. But that's a theory. Inside is still there. Given an opportunity, that thing shows up. And this is not what I am saying. It's because it is in there. When I say something, it reflects. In case of Danone, it's very interesting. And as you read the story, I had no knowledge of Danone as a company or a Danone. There's something called Danone exists in this planet. I had no idea. It is the chairman of Danone who contacted me while I'm in Bangladesh. And that's a negotiation. Can I see you? Can we have time to? I said, no, I can't. I didn't pay any attention because it doesn't fit into my schedule. Then he said that, yes, you'll be coming here in Paris to attend a conference. And I said, but it's not in Paris. His answer was, yes, it is not in Paris, but you'll be landing in Charles de Gaulle. And then you'll be driving through Paris to go that place. So all I'm saying, I'll wait along that path in a restaurant. Let's have a lunch together. So he's making it easy for me. And then I felt, okay, I didn't know about that. I have no idea where this location is. So I agreed. And it is the owner of the company. 60% of Danone owned by the family. So he's not bothered about what others thought and so on. So he's a chairman, he's the owner, his father is the founder of the company. And that's what began. And I didn't pay much attention. All I had to say, he asked question, I answered question about Grameen Bank. I didn't even talk about social business. He raised the question, what is social business? Then I explained. He said, can we do some social business together in Bangladesh? I said, why not? Let's do it. At that time, I had no idea what it would be. Probably he didn't have any idea either. But this is how it came. So it was not that I convinced him. He's already convinced. He's trying to find out, to talk to me, to get into action. So I'm saying this, he's not alone. There are many other people inside that corporate body who have the feeling, but within the structure cannot come out. And later on, what other companies we had the same story. We didn't know these companies. These are too big for us to ever know, even to get to know them. But they approached us, approached me at different occasions, and this is how we started it. They always asked, how can we get involved with it? And I give some idea, they liked them, and this is how it began. So it's a human level. You may be in a company, you may be in government, you may be a politician. You do the traditional politics, suddenly you hear this and say, this is something else. How do we do it? So it clicks because that's why I say I feel that it exists. You don't have to have a very sensitive microscope to examine human being, whether that driven by collective interest, that interest exists. It's demonstrated every day, but in a very insignificant way because of the overwhelming presence of self-interest. So selfishness became our driving force, not the selflessness. But the selflessness exists in a big way.
Great. I also would prefer not to see that example of the CEO and the chairman and the founder as an isolated example.
Okay.
But, you are mentioning one capacity, that's the human in ourselves that awakens at some point of time. Would you say that there is a number two quality that maybe each CEO who was not thinking about that, who being exposed to something, he might start thinking about this, you know?
Possible, it's possible. For example, it can be that he reads about Danone, about social business, so on. So what is this guy doing? How can he run a company without making money? What gives him the authority to do that? So he become interested to understand how crazy can the CEO can become, or the chairman can become of a big company. In the process, he finds out he feels the same way. And then he looks for opportunity, how to make it happen, explore more about it, and so on. This is one way. Another one is the guy who's looking at it is not a CEO. It's just a mid-level guy or even lower than mid-level guy. And the idea has captured him. And he wanted to bring to the notice of the policymakers, hire people, and so on. In the beginning, everybody rejects him. No, you go this way. This is the way we go. He keeps on every occasion he gets, he brings it up. And some other people started responding. And it may be you may be insignificant person in the company, but this idea placement, you did it in such a way, it became an important thing in the discussion. So that can also happen. So it could be coming from the top, it could be coming from the bottom, or from the middle.
Can you name a couple of things only that Danone has benefited out of it as a brand, as a feeling, or whatever else is there for them as a company who did such an enormous, strange thing for the business mind?
One, it became an instant news. For a company like that, news, favorable news is always a good thing. It came into discussion. Some saying is a crazy thing, some saying is a good thing. Media people had something to talk about, Danone. Otherwise, there's nothing to talk about, Danone. So now there's something to talk about. It's a good idea, bad idea. So they got a very free publicity and a positive publicity. Some people say it's a crazy thing. They didn't say that it's some way to exploit people. And some journalists in the beginning even said that, don't you think they are using you to give them the social paint over them so that they look social because you're doing something tiny in Bangladesh? They spend little money but get big publicity out of it. So I keep telling them, look, the way it happened is not the way you are describing that they want to. We try to resist, and they are the ones that are following up. And their interest in doing something concrete has been revealed again and again. And this is how it all began, and this is how it continues. It's a small little company in Bangladesh. But the Danone, since the chairman is involved in this, entire Danone pays attention to what's happening to that. So it became a very important item of discussion within Danone itself. Its success, so on, her design is overcoming the basic problems and so on. So it gets a lot of attention. I said, nobody cares what the Bangladesh is, where this Danone yogurt is produced. But the fact a top leading corporate body in France could do something like that, for me, benefit is on my side, because nobody knew about social business. The moment Danone got involved with it, we got publicity in every business page, because it's now, for the first time, we come into the business page. Otherwise, it's just in the health, as a kind of charity and so on, help the poor people, those kind of discussion. Now, this is a serious business proposition. What is the rate of return? What do you do that? Is it worthwhile? Can you survive? And those kind of things. Can you replicate it? Those issues, business issues. So I'll say from their side, whatever they have gained, I don't think that was their calculation to gain something, but gain from our side is enormous.
You know, even if that is the trigger, like the corporate social responsibility thing that brands the company, if we think in the concept of the Trojan horse, if that's the thing that can drive them do something, and maybe then another step, then I would say it's okay also, right? Yeah. Professor, all the problems in the world, they say in MIT Presencing Institute, Mr. Otto Scharmer, a professor, I don't know if you are familiar with that name. He has coined the theory. He said all the problems could be sorted out in three big groups. One is the divide between the human, between the self and the nature. One divide. The other divide is divide between the self and the other, so among people. And the third divide is the divide between the self and myself. You know, human, from his self, it divides. Having this in mind, how would you explain that social businesses, social enterprises, social entrepreneurship as a concept can regenerate these huge three divides that are happening in the world?
Yeah, just to clarify, social enterprise, social entrepreneurship, and social business, they sound similar, but because of the nature of each one, it's very different. For example, from social business, is one distinguishing mark of social business that it doesn't want to take any personal profit. Owners don't want to take any personal. It's a zero personal profit. Every other one is not discarded. It's part of the profit taking, personal profit taking. But they add social benefit also. So it's a mixture of social benefit and personal benefit. In case of social business, it's only social benefit, no personal benefit in terms of financial return. So that's a zero. So that they can go in the same direction, but each one has a different level where we want to do in terms of that. Yes, this is you talk about three divides. I couldn't get all the three divides, how did it? But it's a mechanism how you express your what I mean by social business. It's a mechanism by which you express your drive for collective interest. It's the whole idea of social business is to solve social problems, common problems, whatever common problem you have. If you talk about environmental problems, you create social business to do that. Instead of creating environmental danger, you solve environmental. So it's a reversal. One, the money-making companies are contributing to global warming. Social business comes to reduce and eliminate global warming without making any personal profit from them. You could have made personal profit by reducing global warming and so on, as taking it a profit-making business. But this is a business where it is not interested in taking personal profit and so on. Why? Why is so big important thing? It's important. The moment you mix this, the power of personal interest is so high, so powerful, that it drags you into that direction gradually. So you cannot retain yourself on the other direction of personal, collective goods. So if any element of that personal interest kind of disoriented. So I said you discard the track from the beginning so that that disorientation doesn't happen. It's very clean and clear that you want to do something. So all the three divides, I'm sure some way this will be relevant for them. Because since I don't get each one of the category to explain separately, I'll stop here.
Okay. Just as a spoiler alert, I'm 52 now, and I have lived in Yugoslavia, like a country, you know. And there was a concept in the political system of that country that heading toward the communism, that ideal state of everything, of the society, there is a middle phase called the dictatorship of the proletariat, of the people. Dictatorship of the people, you know. So it's a transitional period. And if you do not mix it up there, then you will go to the next level. But that, as when I say social enterprises in the context of social businesses, I also see them as a transitional something, right?
I hope.
Okay. Thank you for that. And so you have said that the poverty is denial of human rights, right? And it's a strong statement that we all can feel is true, right? But then in solving the poverty, you come up with a very pragmatic, you know, like ideas and concepts. And the simple question would be how to shift the mindset in addressing poverty, but not addressing it only as a social phenomenon, but on many other lateral levels.
Again, the one that you quote about the poverty, denial of all human rights. I also say poverty is not created by the poor people. This is a fundamental issue with me. Poverty is not created by the poor people. They are the victims of something else. And poverty is created by the system that we have created. That's why I was giving the example of these two maps, existing maps, that all the wealth on the other side, bunched up on the top, all the people on the other side, in the South Pole, bunched up on the South Pole. I said, people didn't do that. They didn't choose which way they will go. They will go to the north, they will go to the south. System decided. How many can go to the North Pole? System decided. They didn't decide. They were surprised that they're moving in that direction. They never thought as a child, as a grown-up adult, as a college graduate, never thought they will belong in that part. But they did. System pushed them. They're good people. I'm not saying those just because they're there, they're bad people. They're good people, but the system, the flood came, flood pushed them on that side. And that's what is created by the system. It creates a flood of people to move into that direction. Other people, they're just thrown away into the dump. That's why we are on the dump. So I said, that's a wrong system. So we have to design a system where North Pole and South Pole come together and the people in the world come together. I said, it's like designing a software. You have a problem. I said, now you've designed a software so that it works this way, not this way. We didn't design economics like a software. Some smart guy said, this is the way it should be. And we followed them. if they could only see what is the ideal that we are looking for, what kind of world we want, then sit down to write a theory that this is the way you can get there. Then we would have understood whether this is a real theory or is a fake theory. It didn't work. But today's theory has nothing to do with it. It doesn't aim at anything. It said, finally, you'll have an equilibrium. Everybody will be peace. Peace of what? I don't have anything. Why should we be in peace? I said, this is the most explosive situation any system can produce, separating out wealth from the people. That's why you have all those revolutions and so on. And God knows how many revolutions are still inside our belly, which will come out very soon because a system is going on. It's not stopping. And it comes back again and again. But we said, okay, we'll give you welfare. You take some money. We're always giving them charity money to keep them quiet. We're not fixing the system. I said, why don't you fix the system? System will take care of everything so that everybody has a chance to produce their own creative activities rather than what you prescribe and so on. And I also, not only, I said they push the people in the wealth in a two different directions. Also by giving another idea that every human being has to find a job. I said, this is a crazy thing that they have done. Human beings are not job seekers, they are entrepreneurs. They are born entrepreneurs. But you divide them. You push them into work for somebody else. I said, you know what? All this wealth goes on the top. Why? Because the entire world, we are trained in our school, in our college, to become job seekers, job-ready young people. And they come out and send a job application because we have no other option. Either you get a job or you're finished. Your life is done. So you have to find a job. If you don't have a job, you go and march on the street against the government. Give us a job. So government has to get something done so that they get a few jobs, more job. Because job is my life, only way of survival. I said, that's absolutely wrong. They're basically entrepreneurs. Why don't you create facilities for entrepreneurs so that they can become real entrepreneurs? And he gave the examples of microcredits. Millions of women in all over the country, in Bangladesh, all over the world, take tiny little money and turn themselves into entrepreneurs. If illiterate village woman can become entrepreneur, so don't tell me that entrepreneurship is a very rare thing for rare people. That's absolutely absurd. We have defunct that whole thing. That idea is dumped. So I said the reason the wealth concentration takes place is because we are job seekers. We all work for you because you're the big guy. So first thing I do come out of the college, I send a job application to you. And if you like me, I got a job, my life is done. I get a promotion, I got a bonus, and I get at the end a retirement, and my life is done. I said, what he has done in the process, the guy who hired me, he made all the money for himself. So we became the mercenaries, the fighter everybody said, grab money for him. So we are soldiers for him. We are what we are doing and picking up things, and when he's happy, he gives us a little bonus, he gives us a little things. And say, okay, goodbye, you're doing good work. But he picks everything up. He's not in the scene. We do it for them. Some employ 1,000 people, some employ 100,000, some employ 200,000. This is what we do for him. And in it, I said, just imagine for a second, if all human beings on the planet turned out to be entrepreneurs. They're all entrepreneurs. And they're working, whatever they do, they make their own money. Will there be wealth concentration? No, zero wealth concentration. Why? Because nobody is bringing money for anybody else. They are keeping it for themselves. I'm an entrepreneur, why should I give it to you? I keep my money, you keep your money, she keeps her money. So there is no someone who collects all the money because we are not working for anybody. We keep ourselves. So if you become an entrepreneur, this is one solution of the wealth concentration. There is no concentration of wealth. Some may have more money than others, but we have all in the same game. And we have the same ability because nobody is working for you. Because he who is supposed to be working for you, or at least you hope he has his own business. Why should he work for you? At the most, he can do a partnership. I work and you business, let's work it together. It's collective business. They can do that. So this is the whole scenario. The job orientation in our education, in our thinking is a wrong thinking. We're always thinking about job. How many jobs are created? That's not the way. So how many entrepreneurs are created? That's the real question.
Great. I will build upon this, reminding us all of the words that you have started this conversation with. You have to have an idea and then to pursue it. And undoubtedly, your idea has made that mind shift in the economic minds in the world at some point of time. And in 2006, I will read this, Norwegian Nobel Committee has recognized that Grameen Bank has shown that even the poorest of the poor can work to bring about their own development, right? That's why Grameen Bank and you as a founder were awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. My question to you is now, having in mind what I have just said in terms of the idea and the things that need to be done, what do you think is the effort that would have been worth the next Nobel Prize in terms of changing the way we see and look at the economics?
Well, one thing I would say that I hope somebody does that, and it will be worth the Nobel Prize that anybody can win. Today, the world is moving in one direction, and pandemic has shown this very clearly. When the whole economic machine stopped, we saw where it stopped, what happened after it stopped. Because we never had an experience with the whole world, the machine stopped. We had depressions, we have stock market crash and so on. Some countries are affected, some countries are not. But here, every country is affected. Every country came to stop. So suddenly we see the world in a completely different way. Like I was giving you the news that I stay in my home. I've been staying in my home for the last 7 months. I've not left my home. So this is not a normal thing I would do under any circumstances. But pandemic situation, this became my normal. I do this because of the safety of the people inside the house is ensured. So this is the reason that we have this special season to reflect. This is the time to reflect. And then I see, while I'm trying to reflect what is going on, all the bad things, all the terrible things the economic system has done is now revealed. It became very visual. They were there before, but it was clouded with many other things. We didn't see clearly. Now we see very clearly, one after another. And one thing came to me very clearly, when all the countries, all the governments are running around to mobilize funds, what they call stimulus package or a bailout package, so that now that it stopped, you have to start it again. So in order to start it, you have to pour in lots of money to get it started. So they are preparing for that. And some governments have already declared billions of dollars in their bailout and stimulus packages. Some even have trillions of dollars already collected and reserved, so that the moment this opportunity will arise, they'll pour in that money to get back to where we're coming from at the pre-pandemic. So seeing this, I started raising the question. I said, why are we trying to go back? Is it worth going back to? I said, that world is already gone, finished. Going back, there will be suicidal for us, because that world has only a few years left because of the global warming. Everybody tells the global warming will completely destroy this world. It will not be habitable by human beings, because the moment you go over 2 degrees Celsius, it's impossible. This is still, we are approaching the 1.5 degree and very close to 2 degrees Celsius by 2050. So that's about the time left. I said, already countdown has begun. And when pre-pandemic, the train which were carrying us was rushing to the last station. The last station is few miles from here. So you want to go back and ride the same train to go back to the last station? I said, it should be insane. I wouldn't do that. I said, you were lucky that the train is stopped. You got off the train. And I don't want to get back to the train. And this is a decision we have to take right now. I said, the basic decision now is no going back. And that's a basic decision. If somebody can figure it out from here, how to turn it around, go into other direction, step by step, and make it sensible that yes, it looks sensible. We don't want to the death path. We want to the life path. If you would give us a life, a beautiful life for us, a life which doesn't have global warming, which doesn't have wealth concentration, because these are the terrible things are waiting for us, and which doesn't have artificial intelligence, because artificial intelligence will discard us all. All human beings will become excess in the planet. They have no use for you. This is a wastage. So we don't want to be garbage on this planet. And that's what the artificial intelligence is coming to make you garbage, because artificial intelligence will not leave you any place where you can work. Because whatever you work, artificial intelligence can do it cheaper and better. So nobody will going to do that. And the world that we have is about the maximization of profit. In that world, you have no chance, because the machine will come before anybody else. They don't care whether you live or alive or you're dead. They only want to make their bottom line fatten. So that's the economics that we have got. So you have no room for that. I said, I don't want to go back to that world. So the world will be other world. And that's what the world usually I call a world of 3 zeros. 0 net carbon emission, 0 wealth concentration to create 0 poverty, and 0 unemployment. Because artificial intelligence will guarantee 100% unemployment. So we want to undo that before it happens. We want to make 100% employment so that we remain occupied. Employment here doesn't mean job, meaning we're occupied. We do things on our own, and we can do that. So that's the direction. If somebody can show us the direction, I think he or she will deserve that prize, because you saved the whole humanity on this planet. If the humanity goes back to the same old way, we are finished. Nobody can save it. That's why our children are marching on the street, calling them Fridays for Future. They're accusing us, their parents, saying you are totally irresponsible people. You stole our future. You have not left any future for us. You see, our children accusing us. It's not something else. And in every country. So we came to that, but you still don't have it, and we cannot feel it. And my explanation why we don't feel it, we say we know that our house is burning. We know them. That's why global warming, we talk, we make speeches, we write articles, we make news out of it. We know that the house is burning. But inside the burning house, we have a big party. We're enjoying ourselves. We see it, but we don't care for it, because we are addicted. We are so addicted, even the fire doesn't wake us up. But when we're all turned into ash, then probably we'll figure out that we are in the wrong house. We didn't stop the fire. We rather become the victim of the fire. So this is the time to wake up, to get the addicted people out of the addiction. That addiction has to go.
Thank you very much. I saw 3 pictures that I heard of before also. One picture is we see the world as it is and we don't like it, the way it is. Second one is I want to move forward. The third one is I'm not sure how to do it. This is how Presencing Institute is communicating the present situation of the doubt. And you are also talking about the awareness, and I personally would really like to see you talking with Mr. Otto Scharmer, because your ideas so much merge. I mean, he kind of offers tools to change the inner capacity we operate from. And in that fight, or a challenge, I would say, there are 2 streams. One is the personal one, as you've been explaining, the change in the shift of the CEOs, when they remind themselves that they are humans, we are all humans, right? And the other is the one that I want to talk to you about in the last 5 minutes of our interview. It's a kind of a systemic approach, using maybe your ideas and some goodwill, I would say. So Јунус Center is coming to Macedonia. Macedonia is a small geography. It's 2 million people and, 1.5 hour from border to border ride. So you're very welcome to visit us. It would be a delightful.
I did visit in 1955. Would you believe? Many years back, as a Boy Scout.
Tell us about that something. Do you remember anything?
I was a Boy Scout. I was 15-year-old in 1955. And I was chosen as a part of the Pakistan delegation. At that time, we were part of Pakistan. So the Pakistan delegation to the 10th World Jamboree in Canada. So we flew to Canada, flew to London, and took a ship. By ship, we went to New York, and then finally to Niagara-on-the-Lake in Canada, where the Jamboree held. On the way back, we took the same ship, came back, and this time we decided, instead of wasting our money in the plane fare, all the ticket that we have to buy, with that money we can buy 3 microbuses. So we went to Volkswagen factory in Germany, just opened it after the war. They started producing. So we bought 3 microbuses right out of the factory and started driving this towards Pakistan. And we had fun. And we stayed wherever we want to stay. We went to see whatever city we want to see. And in the process, we came to Macedonia. We are coming to Middle East, going into that, from Macedonia to Turkey and other places, and then back to Pakistan. So that's where we spent 3 days in Macedonia, traveling through. And we're met by all the Boy Scouts in Macedonia to receive us and have fun with us, enjoy with, meal with us, and so on. So we are treated like royalties as we come from one city to another city. The Boy Scout of the city, they are waiting for us, greeting for us, and meeting people, and so on. So we had a lot of fun. It took us 6 months to come from London and come to Germany and to come all the way to Pakistan. 6 months of travel by buses, by microbuses. So this is our famous story that I remember.
It's very exciting story. Exciting to hear that. I'm so glad. So Yunus entering the Republic of North Macedonia, it's an exciting thing to think about, even. And you have mentioned the COVID as a phenomenon, the worldwide phenomenon that kind of changes the way we operate. It's a time for stillness, time for starting things over and over again, right? What do you think that Yunus Center in Macedonia can, what do you expect out of it? And what do you think, knowing the experience of other Yunus centers, what can it bring to this country? And to the idea?
The idea of Yunus Center was that since still our young people are trained in the old issues and old way of doing things, they become victims of old roads, that you have to follow this road. And I'd say, if you follow the old road, you go to the old destination. And our old destination is not good. So you have to get out of this old road. If you have to go to a new destination, you have to build new roads. Old road will never take you to a new destination. So you have to build a new destination, a new road to get a new destination. So that's why we thought at least we have an opportunity to present options to the young people, and how social business is an option. And what happens if you do social? You have many, many other options, how to make it a better life, better world. This is another option. See if it makes sense to you. And if it makes sense to you, you don't have to wait to become an entrepreneur. And so you can start right away when you're still a student. If you're not, you don't have the money yet to invest and start a business, create business ideas, design businesses to solve problems. So hoping someday, as soon as you get this money, you'll start the business, because your passion is to solve the problem. If it is an unemployment problem, you may be creating a small business where it will take 3 unemployed young people out of unemployment. And that was the only purpose of your business. And it sustains itself. You pay good salary or good wages for these 3 young people that you have hired, and the businesses make money, and you never take any profit out of it. It's plowed back into it. And if it grows, you can hire another person. You have 3, 4 persons. So don't get threatened by the enormity of unemployment. You see the opportunity of doing it one by one. If you have taken 1 person out of unemployment, you've contributed to the solution of the world. So see how many you can take it out. This is one example you can multiply with. And if you're successful, your friend will say, hey, that looks good. I'll do better than that. So you start thinking another way, addressing the same or a different thing, which is more exciting. So they become a network of friends who have done that. So this is the idea, that when the center is here, you get connected with other centers, where they're doing, what kind of social business they're designing, what kind of debate they're having in social business. Are they dismissing social business? We're not saying social business is the solution. You have to accept. It's not a religion. This is an idea. This is an idea where you don't have to go to the street to march and compel the government to do it. You don't have to. You do it yourself. So you don't have the responsibility of demonstrating and raising slogans, bringing placards, which is important. But in this case, in this particular case, you don't have to do anything. You use your creative capacity to create a small little business, or in your block where you live in the city, in your block, you have solved one problem, because your block has the same problem as the world has. So pick one and say, I did this one. And then it will inspire another school kid that when I grow up, go to college, I'll do this one here. This is, it's an inspiration. So individuals can get involved and so on. So that is the meaning of that. And then we have the network. There are 87 centers around the world in 34 countries. So we get them connected. We have annually a big gathering. We call it Social Business Academia Conference. So all the experiences gathered and we shared. And today is very easy because in the virtual field, anybody can attend, anybody can discuss. We have a lecture series. Every month we have 2 lectures, which is again distributed through a virtual platform. Anybody can watch it, anybody can preserve it. It's all preserved in YouTube and in Facebook. So you can go anytime. So we have now 8 of those lectures already. We just began a few months back. And every month we have 2 lectures, very interesting lectures about the people who are already doing social business and the people who are arguing about their social business, what is right, what is wrong, and discuss. It's all brought to you, whatever you want to do. So this we bring to the young people to see that. And there are a resource center on the web. It's called Social Businesspedia. You can go into Social Businesspedia and get any information about social business anywhere in the world, what is happening. And you can have your own page on the Social Businesspedia talking about what is happening in Macedonia. You have your own page, and people will visit Macedonia and find out what's happening. And if that page is blank, that means you didn't bother to report it in the PDF, or you didn't do anything. Or if you've done something, if you put it in there, everybody else will see it and get connected with you. Hey, this looks good. Can we share with share your experience with us? Yeah, those kind of things. So this is the beginning of that. Only one university. That's the beginning. Some universities are already giving degrees in social business, have a department of social business. Some already have PhDs in social business. So this is gradually, because once it gets into your head, then it becomes real. If you just talk, go home, that's over. Yeah. So we have to think in a different way. So different thinking is a part of that building new roads. And hopefully some young people will know the new roads and build this new road so that we can escape from our impending destruction. I keep reminding the young people that we are the most endangered most endangered species on this planet right now. We don't have much time left. So don't think that, oh yeah, we'll do this and our children will do this, your grandchildren will do this. Your children may not have opportunity to go to their full age. And grandchildren may not have any life on this planet at all. No, it came so close. So don't just dismiss that, okay, things will be all right. Now we know our leader is good, he will protect us. It's not the protection of the leader which will make it. It's us to protect ourselves as a community of human beings. We are supposed to be the most creative being on this planet. But when it comes to protecting the planet, we have not shown that creativity. You mentioned how to do that, how to address this problem, solve this problem, global problem. I said, we know the solution. This is the whole crazy part of it. We know exactly who is contributing to the global warming. You can go page by page, person by person, how much you contribute, I contribute, you contribute, how much the company contributes, how much fossil fuel contributes, how much plastic contributes, how much cattle contributes. We know that. We know that, but we don't do anything. We keep on discussing about it and having a steak lunch, as if that has no. So this is it. It's not something of that we are so stupid we don't even know it. We're not that. We're smart. We know what it is. But we, as I said, we are addicted to our lifestyle. So we have created 2 things: the real reality, where the house is burning and so on, and another pseudo reality for ourselves that we deny of. This is denial. We don't. It doesn't happen. Even a leader like Trump, all these 4 years, he withdrew from the Paris Agreement. He told that this is a Chinese hoax.
I guess it's a good thing that the Yunus Center in Macedonia is formed by 3 entities from different sectors. One is economic faculty, academia. The other one is SEED, it's business sector. And the third one is a civic society sector through public, Association for Research, Communication, Development. Just briefly, if you can imagine one prototyping result after 1 year, what would that be from this Macedonian Yunus Center?
One would be a real example running social business. That would be a concrete thing. It may be very tiny, but it's a real thing. It works. So that people can go and see and find out he's solving the problem of one person. My position is if you know how to solve the problem of one person, you found the seed for solving the entire problem of the world. Because it's all about repetition. You have done it, and that's how our medicines, vaccines, and all those that we are producing. Vaccines have been tried over a few people, and they test it out, it's okay. Now it's good for everybody. So this is what we developed the seed. So if Macedonia can come up with a small seed and really works, and then you have contributed to the solution of the entire world. Solution for the world is not a difficult thing. It all needs a tiny little example. And it encourages me to say that because I have been doing that microcredit. I had no idea that this would be useful in Macedonia or useful in the United States. I was just trying to solve the problem of this tiny little village next to my campus. And not for everybody there, for few people. The people that I can lend money to, that they will be protected from loan sharks. But whoever knew this is such an important thing that everybody will want that. And that became very popular because people needed it. So I will gladly bring it. It became so big, I thought, no, it's have to be, now it's not a personal thing anymore. We have to create a bank out of it. So then we created a bank in 1983. Started in 76, became a bank in 1983, and then spread to the whole world, whole country, and that idea spread the whole world. So this is a tiny thing, and with a tiny money. Our initial loans were $3, $5, and so on. And that's how it began. So it didn't need any money. It's just my pocket money. I gave it to them. So this is what. So if Macedonia Yunus Center can create one such example in whichever direction, that will spread the whole world. So this is what we are waiting for every single YSBC, each one coming with a new idea, something which will touch. Some will become very powerful ideas, some is a medium beginning, but maybe as it goes, it becomes very powerful as it develops and develops together. So that's what we're looking forward to. And congratulations to all the parties who joined the Yunus Center.
It was a pleasure and honor talking to you, Professor. You have honored the street paper we are part of and the country with the presence of your presence through the interview that we will publish. And just one more personal question. I was told by your very close colleagues and friends that you never get angry. So I'm wondering, they didn't see you angry, they say. So I'm wondering, how come that all work and everything?
When I am angry, I go inside the house and I get angry. So I don't show it to them.
They cannot see you, right? But indeed, there is a capacity inside of you that, I mean, you radiate and comes. Is there a practice like meditative or some other kind of practices that you personally do to grow yourself?
No, it's an everyday way. I don't feel, I'm not very conscious about what I do. As it comes, I do it. What I do, how I do it, even I don't notice. If my colleagues notices it, probably they don't even mention it to me because it's so bad. They don't want to irritate me by saying that. So this is just, it goes on. I feel happy.
I guess you are doing just what is necessary. So that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for this conversation, Professor Јунус.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you. Thank you very much.